Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Rivzen Rampage League Octafinals, the round of 16. We have made it all the way here to playoffs. We have got this great matchup tonight between Iron Chefs coming in at 7-2 and fire-breathing Rubber Duckies coming in at 6-3. My name is Gordo, and I'm joined tonight by Danielson. Danielson, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good tonight. How about you?
Oh, I cannot complain at all. Really excited to get to watch some of this Rampage League of Legends coming right in front of us right now tonight.
Yeah, we've got two pretty great teams that we're working with right here. We've got the Iron Chefs versus the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies, and it should be a pretty fun game right here. You know, we've seen a few shakeups in the meta in the last few patches, a lot of new junglers that we might see coming out. We got the Rumble, the Morgana, the Diana, all that hot mess business in there. Have you seen any MSI recently?
Yeah, I've gotten to catch a good amount of that one. Really excited to see some of those picks that have been popping up in these lower leagues here and there, but now that they've been busted out in professional play, you know that's when everybody really starts to go full steam ahead on these new junglers. That's where this Kindred's going to start coming out a lot, this Morgana, this Rumble, all of those picks coming through a lot.
Do you know if we might see, sorry to interrupt you right there, you know if we might see any Gwen or any of the other new champions? Are they still banned?
If I were to guess, I would say Gwen and Viego are still disabled. I've not heard otherwise, but
I think Viego. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they keep it same as with Pro Play down here in Rampage. So I believe we are going to be operating without those two, but definitely still an exciting matchup to check out what we've got already on the table. The Iron Chefs here coming in. We're actually the champion and now are actually going to be coming all the way here in pre-made Rampage, making it all the way to playoffs here and looking to kind of carry one title on it to the next one here. Is fire-breathing Rubber Duckies, as far as I know, they've been competing here the past couple of splits, got to cast these guys while they were qualifying for this league, and now it looks like they've had a nice run of it in the group stages and are coming all the way into that top 4 seed and coming all the way into playoffs. And with that, we're going to get right into these picks.
Yeah, we're already seeing a few coming out right there. The Rel, of course, and the Tristana countering up over here by the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. Tristana is still probably one of the best first pickable blue side champions in the game. You know, she's extremely strong both in ADC and mid, and being able to flex it between those two roles is just a blessing. Also, she's pretty fun to play too. So hopefully we have a lot more people that like playing her.
Oh, yeah. Great amount of aggressive options coming through from that pick here. Meanwhile, we're really going to be targeting at this bot lane now, getting the Sennas out of the way, the Rel, the Alistair. Now, Swain going to be the hover for this last ban on the side of Iron Chefs. And definitely not one that we get to see a huge amount of these days, but has had really high win rates up there in solo queue coming through at the support and bot lane position. Another flex pick in that area can also be taken into those solo lanes if you feel like it. So they're going to ban that one right out of there. And then the Shen from fire-breathing Rubber Duckies, freshly buffed on that last patch. Don't want to see that one in this game.
Yeah, that guy came out pretty quick right there as the last ban right here. So now we have to see what will the Iron Chefs choose as their first pick. A few notable picks making it through. Morgana, you can have that flex through. I still think Volibear is a pretty good flex that you can put in the jungle or the top lane. But it looks like, yeah, it's actually going to be the Morgana coming out over here for the Iron Chefs.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see that one whiff its way through picks and bans here. The Rumble's been nerfed a little bit since his immediate post-buff status. Morgana also in that camp has a little bit less healing, but is still very much one of those tier 1 junglers. But they're going to respond to it here with the Jarvan and the Seraphine. The Seraphine have a couple of sustained nerfs effectively from that Moonstone Renewer, really getting gutted a couple patches back, but it's been buffed up a little bit on the back side and still very powerful to just build AP on that champion and get full use out of that Encore ultimate. The Jarvan, something we haven't seen a huge amount of.
Yeah, most def. Because we do see the Seraphine coming out, that's probably going to mean the Morgana is going to go in the jungle, which, you know, is going to be countered up right there by the Leona, confirming that theory, basically. But yeah, against Morgana, especially in the support position, you can basically pick any enchanter in there. In the jungle, however, I don't believe Jarvan is going to be the best matchup right there. He's pretty dependent on getting that early knockup and the slow there, getting on top of the enemy jungler. But what's really stopping her from just black shielding and then queuing and just walking away from the Jarvan. Is he really going to be able to do much there in that matchup? They did pick it pretty quickly, though, so maybe they seem pretty confident that it is a counter pick right there. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, Twitch and Leona are going to be picked up right there. Not usually what you really want with a Twitch. He likes to have an enchanter, get him through the lane, really buff him up in the later portions of the game. So they're probably going to be going pretty aggressive right here with Leona, I guess, going to Hail of Blades. And we're probably going to see a very aggressive AD carry, maybe to counter that up a little bit. Caitlyn's still open. You could even go for something like a Lucian still open. I personally think Sivir is a little undervalued in meta, but it's going to be the Urgot actually picked up. Probably going to be for the top lane right there for the fire-breathing rubber duckies.
Yeah, certainly. One of those safer blind picks right now goes right up there with the Gnar, the Renekton's, rather, of the world. Is something that you can at least kind of lock in and trust that you're not going to have too bad of a matchup, regardless of what ends up coming through on the other side. Waffles going to be the one busting out of that Urgot in the top lane. And now we're going to ban away the Ornn to defend it here. Maybe also going to see a Scion ban, but now it's Veigar. We got totally different ideas of what needs to be taken off the board here. As long as that Ornn's out of the way, they feel really comfortable that this Urgot's going to be able to deal with whatever gets dished out here. Meanwhile, the Silas going to be the ban from the side of Iron Chef's. Got a couple of real powerful ultimates in their arsenal already with that Solar Flare from the Leona and the Soul Shackles from the Morgana. They do not want to see that getting stolen away this game.
Yeah, there are still a few major Urgot counters still open. I don't even think Ornn is that bad of a matchup right there for Urgot, but I think something like Mordekaiser potentially is actually really, really bad there in that top lane. It's definitely one of the harder ones to play. Usually people bring out something like the Jax as a response to something like an Urgot, but I think recently a lot of people have figured out that it's not actually that good of a matchup right there, especially if you don't have much chunk pressure. But yeah, still up to pick here. We have the 80 carry still yet to pick for the fire-breathing rubber duckies in a few seconds. Ooh, and it's actually be the Jinx right there. She did just see a very small nerf. It basically brought her from 200% to 175 on the AoE on her Q-empowered rockets right there. But she's still just incredibly good 80 carry right there. And if you're playing against someone like a Twitch who really doesn't have that much kill pressure in the lane, I think this is actually very, very good over here for fire-breathing rubber duckies. I will say, though, they're going to need some magic damage there in that mid lane. I'm going to be interested to see what they end up picking up.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, that Corki going to come on through as that blind pick mid laner. Really going to be a big damage threat coming through into the later game. Has a lot of poke capabilities coming through with that missile barrage. And now going to want to see how they're going to round out this top lane. They got to take something into the Urgot, discuss some of the options. But there's that Scion we were talking about earlier. Maybe not going to slam the Urgot in lane, but definitely one of the best tanks to take up into losing matchups in the top lane. One of those champions that can farm it out even if he ends up getting killed up there. So really is going to be hoping to just survive through and then come into the late game to be a big beefy frontliner for this Twitch Corki Morgana setup that Iron Chefs have set up for themselves here. Now, fire-breathing rubber duckies, they've got to choose between either support or mid lane here. The mid lane seems to be the general home for the Seraphine these days, but gonna be a Xerath lock-in. So still not even 100% clear. They can still flex Seraphine and Xerath between mid and support. Both are viable in both positions, although I would expect that the Seraphine might be drifting a little bit more towards support for this particular matchup.
Yeah, I would hope that the Seraphine goes in the support position. I really think that Jinx could use a little bit of that extra healing, a little bit of that extra safety pressure that comes there in the bot lane. Sending something into the Xerath, I think, or sending the Xerath in support position bot lane kind of seems a little too easily influenceable right there. You can lose that lane very, very hard. Versus Seraphine Jinx, they got a little bit more tools to stay there. I don't actually really like the Xerath in the mid lane right there, though. I kind of wish this guy played like Syndra or something, because Corki's definitely a champion where you can have a lot of kill pressure right there. If the Silas wasn't banned, I'd say that would have been a really good pick. Again, Syndra also could have been a really good pick, or even the LeBlanc if this guy thought that it was pickable right here if he actually played the LeBlanc. But Xerath, he's going to scale up. Maybe he can make something happen in the mid lane, but Corki is going to have a lot of sustain, probably going to go Doran Shield, probably going to go Fleet Footwork. It's probably going to have a lot of extra health to be working with there based on all the poke that Xerath's going to be throwing at him.
Yeah, certainly excited to see that one coming out, though. Does offer a little bit of global pressure as well, going to be matching up with things like that Corki passage using his own Right of the Arcane, just be firing those barrages on across the map here. And definitely going to be an interesting matchup up against the Corki. Going to be a lot. I'll be trying to farm up and get some of that damage up into the late game. Not expecting a super high amount of solo kill pressure on either of these guys early on in the game, but I've been surprised by Rampage before, and I certainly will be again.
Definitely. I think that one thing I'm going to be looking at for this game is the Leona roams, personally. I don't think that Jinx and Seraphine have that good of engage, especially without the Seraphine ultimate, so she should probably look for a lot of plays, like trying to get something to happen mid lane. Xerath as a champion can easily be susceptible to, the EQ ultimate combo coming out there for Leona. She can even go top lane right there, influence that Sion-Urgot matchup. I do think that matchup is pretty Urgot favored, but Sion is just one of those champions where he can contribute heavily to jungle pressure and does bring a lot of damage when he does get ahead in certain matchups. So I think that both these teams have a lot of different ways that they could play this game. But overall, I think I have my answer, but I want to hear yours first. Which one of these drafts do you like more?
I think I gotta come out favoring the side of Iron Chefs a little bit here. I think they got a really straightforward front-to-back setup here. They got really powerful frontliners in their Sion and their Leona to really play interference for this Twitch and Corki damage that's going to be coming through from the backside. I think Morgana's a super powerful jungler right now. They can just go for those really fast clears and can come out of the jungle much faster than something like a Jarvan can, just going to be clearing those camps a lot more efficiently. I think there's going to be a lot of onus on the side of Shadowjack, on the side of Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies, to really make stuff happen early on this Jarvan if they want to show success with this team comp.
Yeah, I think the main problem with Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies draft is that, you have someone like the Jarvan who he doesn't clear that well, but his early ganks and a lot of the pressure he can put in these early skirmishes is pretty impactful. However, look at the lanes. You have a Xerath right in the mid lane. You have a Jinx Seraphine in the bot lane. Urgot, not really a champion until he gets like his level 8, gets his W fully maxed, so isn't going to be doing a lot in those skirmishes. Where are you actually looking to fight with a champion like Jarvan? Where is your advantage going to come from? How are you going to stop the enemy team from just farming and eventually outscaling you, with a pick like Corki, with a infinitely health building champion like Sion, with someone like Morgana who just clears so insanely fast, or even a late game Twitch. It just seems like eventually you're going to get to the point where if Jarvan's not like hard carrying the early game, getting every single objective, really making Morgana not a champion, that Morgana is just eventually going to win out, and then the Iron Chefs are going to run away with this one post 25 minutes.
Yeah, definitely something to be concerned about there. If I were to pick a lane for Shadowjack to go towards, I would think that you'd want to focus up on that top lane. Should have a favorable matchup, has that range versus melee setup coming up over there, has the favorable matchup with that Urgot, can be going in for the disdain flips to really just make sure that they can lock down onto somebody like Bartha Brew, but going to be very concerned about that Morgana, again, running around. The counter ganks are going to be incredibly powerful, even if maybe doesn't have the best inherent setup coming out of places other than the bottom lane. But that's the other thing, too. Can pair up with that Leona later on to come in and have some really powerful ganks onto any lane on the map. So Iron Chefs really feels like they can take control over this game as long as they play out Morgana correctly and as long as they can play tightly early on to avoid falling victim to some Jarvan ganks. But we're going to have to see just how these guys are going to be able to execute on that.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe we're getting to a little bit of a spectator delay right here. You have any other final notes before we throw it to a break right here?
No, definitely just excited to see these guys busting this one out. Iron Chefs, record-wise, should be coming in as the higher seed and as the favorite for this series. But of course, both of these squads coming in from different groups, haven't played each other all season long. And now we're going to get to see our first example of cross-group play for Risen Rampage here in the round of 16. As Danielson already alluded to, we are going to throw it to a quick break here while we get loaded on up into the game. But do not touch that browser. We are going to be right back here with game 1 between Iron Chefs and Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear, like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous, but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running low. Keep running low. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run.
Welcome back to tonight's stream of the round of 16 for the Risen Rampage Premade League. We are starting off with this matchup of Iron Chefs up against fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. Both of these guys looking to take this best of 3 and advance themselves up to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, definitely. Loading into this one, we see pretty standard stuff. You know, no throw rounds across the board. It was the Xerath mid, like we predicted with the Seraphine bot lane. Looking around at this, we see a little business in the top side of the map, maybe trying to play with the early Morgana. She does take W level 1, so hopefully she doesn't have any kind of kill pressure in this sort of an invade. Really hard to think of how that would happen otherwise. But yeah, we were just talking about this, but we did see the Conqueror actually coming out on the Jinx. Now, I remember seeing some kind of double lift explanation on this about like why lethal tempo is better. Like Conqueror has 12 stacks and ranged champions only get 1 stack per auto, right? And gone are the days of being able to stack it up with the Ruan's Hurricane. You just really can't stack it that quickly, and to the point where it's unreasonable. You have to probably be autoing like for 6 seconds late game before you actually get the Conqueror proc. Versus with lethal tempo, you know, you just hit him with a random W and bam, you're already auto attacking faster. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to be looking to see if Festive Turtle's going to be able to make the most mileage out of that one. And as we were talking about in Champion Select a little bit, being able to figure out where these guys are pathing going to be a really big deal, especially for the Iron Chefs here. They just want to make sure that Shadowjack isn't really going to have a huge amount of influence on the game before the first couple of clears are done with here. That's really where King Dell's going to be here just looking to clear away with that Morgana, going to be looking just to get himself farmed on up, and where he's going to be at his weakest point and where Jarvan's going to be at his strongest. So as long as this side of IC can just keep it together and make sure that they don't give up too much to this Jarvan, I think they're golden for this game.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, a lot of the players in this league are gold. You know, that's the whole point of the division. But yeah, anyway, looking at the clears right now, we did have Jarvan starting bot side. Ooh, level 2 on the bot side.
Yeah, immediately going to be some aggression coming through from the Iron Chefs on the bottom side. They take over to that level 2, but meanwhile, here comes Shadowjack trying to make those early plays happen. That's the center of the blast coming through onto Timmy there from Jedi Tristan. Not going to quite be able to finish off that kill, but they blow the flash of the Corki and force him to recall early. That's going to likely be a teleport back to mid lane. Both summoners claimed off a nice early gank from Shadowjack.
Yeah, definitely. And I gotta say, probably should have been doing a better job of just being a little more observant, Timmy, right there. They have a Jarvan, probably one of the best level 2s in the game, and you know, what else is he gonna do? Is he gonna full clear top to bot? Definitely not on that champion. So it's a much more predictable gank that he probably should have played around a little bit better right there. Luckily, Morgana did come in with that Black Shield and save his butt without having to blow too much else right there. It's going to be coming back to lane with the refillable potion, so good for him so far on that. Meanwhile, both these junglers will not be seeing each other, you know, going for opposite halves of the map. We'll probably get some Morgana, go for the Scuttle Crab, and then just continue clearing. Versus Jarvan, I think we might see something happen in the top lane right there.
Yeah, for sure here. The wave is getting pushed on into Waffles here, and that means Bartho Brew going to be up here a little bit farther. Jarvan is waiting in the wings. Shadowjack going to be looking for this engage as soon as he can get it. And Bartho Brew threatening to face check here, coming up real close, but he's gonna smell that something's up and end up avoiding that Jarvan here. And at that point, Jarvan's just done. He's been spotted out by the ward. He knows he's not going to be able to get this gank off, and he's just going to return away to the clearing. Looking for an aggressive path here onto Timmy, though. He really wants to get some value in this early game. It's going to get dodged away from, though, by the Valkyrie. While King Tahul here is just going to look to maybe move into this opposing jungle and take away some camps.
Yeah, unfortunately, Corki now has some of his abilities right now. He's no longer level 1, he is level 4, so he is going to be able to dash away from that gank. So things are going to be a little bit harder for Jarvan right now. He is down 2 camps, but, you know, maybe maybe something lucky will happen otherwise, and he won't get outscaled by Morgana. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? We're going to see it happen right here. He is heading to the bottom lane right there. Maybe a little fight.
Yeah, he gets spotted on out by King Tahul, gets hit up by the Dark Binding, and now he's getting collapsed on by the bot lane of the side of IC. Going to be Shadowjack forced to blow his flash there just to stay alive, taken down from the Ignite, but is going to get shielded up by Zerothium. It means it should be Jarvan getting out of there alive, but definitely not the interactions he wants to be happening earlier on. A successful, I guess we can call it a counter gank from the side of King Tahul there. Going to force Shadowjack to return to his jungle, to return to farming it up, and it means that we're going to take over to this 5-minute mark with no kills on the board.
Yeah, 0-0 right here, or as they say in a European soccer game, a blowout. Anyway, yeah, I've been thinking about more of this Jarvan Morgana matchup, and you know, it probably doesn't seem that bad, honestly. I think that Jarvan EQ is really good into the binding. You know, the EQ effect is technically considered a displacement rather than a dash, right? It moves Jarvan kind of similar to how a Nautilus hook will still go off even if you're stunned or if you're rooted, right? So you can still technically get the dash off and make the EQ a little bit worthless. The problem is she doesn't actually get knocked up for it. So I can see how kind of the thought process would work right there, but I still do not like this jungle matchup, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And you can see it just in the CS numbers here. It's already going to be a 12 CS lead coming through from King Tahul. That's about 3 camps ahead here. And also just going to be having them respawning earlier on. Shadowjack not really gotten too many clears off thus far, so his camps are going to be lower level. They're going to have less gold, less XP, and they're just going to result in him falling behind here. So we're going to see top laners going at it a little bit here. Waffles showing why we feel that this Urgot matchup is really favorable here. Has a 10 CS lead for himself, is getting those trades in there, and as long as he can get the flip in off the Disdain and get some of those shotgun knees triggering, he's going to have a great time up there.
Yeah, the main part about that matchup, ooh, hold up, right here in the bot lane.
Yeah, an engage coming through onto Shadowjack here. The Shocking Orb did land, but now there's going to be a teleport coming on through, and they're looking to engage onto Leona. My friend told me to, just trying to head for the hills as soon as they possibly can. The Fear Beyond Death going to land in for that slow. The Flash Disdain comes on through, but they aren't really able to land any permanent CC coming through onto him, but finally it is going to be enough. They don't have enough for the Urgot Ultimate Execute, but they don't even need it. Jedi Tristan just going to claim that kill off of his Xerath Q.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was not a big fan of that Urgot teleport at first. You know, he teleported to that Jarvan flag right there, and in the early game, teleporting is really, really bad. Probably going to get this jungle right here, I don't imagine. Yeah, I don't imagine this gets stolen. Ooh.
Oh, Waffles, though, getting taken down incredibly low. They're taken down for the Tormented Soil, but he is going to manage to escape, and it's going to be the first dragon of the game in the pocket of the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies.
Yeah, I was just saying earlier, I wasn't a really big fan of that teleport right there. Ultimately, it did result in 1 kill, but it's going to be very bad for Urgot in that matchup top lane. If you teleport early, you're basically giving up about 2.5 waves worth of minions. So if you can't get about 2.5 waves worth of, or 2.5 kills worth of golden experience, it really just isn't worth it for you. As
another engage, though, coming through from my friend told me to. Focusing down on Zerothium, got the full stacks. The execute comes on through from Spartan Monkey. That's going to be a nice 2v2 kill for the bot lane of Iron Chefs, getting themselves back in this during an unfortunate dragon play earlier on here. The Contaminate from Twitch on full stacks does enough damage to finish off that kill.
Yeah, really, really great job there by Spartan Monkey. Knows his damage, knows how much damage he has in his E. He's actually going for the AD build, as we did predict earlier, so his E isn't doing that much damage, but hey, it's good to know your numbers on that kind of a champion right there. Meanwhile, Leona is going to be clearing out a little bit of vision, might be looking for a play there in the mid lane. Look, she is going to be stepping over that Scuttle Crab, so probably not a lot is going to result from there. But yeah, if we look at the top lane right there,
ulti in comes through from the side of Bartho Brew. He's got King Tahul up here as well. The Dark Binding going to end up landing. They're going to turn that into a Soul Shackles. It's going to proc here onto Waffles, and he's going to end up going down. They donate that kill over to Bartho Brew on the Scion for a second kill, going over to the side of the Iron Chefs here. So they're trying to get back in this. Waffles going to end up falling down here in what was a matchup he was dominating early on, but he's lost that CS lead, and now he's lost his life as well.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go for those early teleports. That's generally why it's not worth it unless you're a champion like Pantheon or Kled or Shen even, who can really get to the other lane with some other method and then use your teleport usually to get back. That's why you generally see like mid laners and top laners using their teleport to get back to lane rather than make a lot of plays there in the bot lane. Also, nothing's guaranteed that you're actually going to get anything in the bot lane, but generally, yeah, here we are. We did just see a Jinx rocket come out right there, try to snipe out that Morgana. She will be back up to full HP. Unfortunate, not a lot going to be happening from there.
Yeah, just a little trade coming in through from Festive Turtle there. He's going to be looking to get some snipes off of that Super Mega Death Rocket however he can. That one not going to end up landing and hitting its mark, but as long as they aren't planning on going for too many all-ins in the bottom lane in the meantime, which playing the Seraphine support up against the Leona support, you would assume is not in the cards for the time being, so she's happy to throw on out that one wherever possible. And we're going to enter a little bit of a pause here.
Yeah, I am reading the chat, and it does say that Urgot's internet died, it looks, or one of his teammates at least, and Spartan Monkey has replied with an OK. So well, I've been seeing an R in the chat, so hopefully this game will be back up to it in just a moment right here. How do you think we're doing so far?
I mean, I think it's going pretty much as we expected to a certain degree. Iron Chefs are getting themselves this early lead now. It was Jedi Tristan who was able to pick up that first kill of the game down in the bottom lane, but since then, Fire Breather and Rubber Duckies have not been able to keep up that level of pressure. Shadowjack has not made too many plays happen in the early game here, has started to catch up in that CS a little bit from going back into clearing out his camps, but King Tahul here, still going to keep on scaling up, already has a team with the higher amount of gold, and we're going to have to wait and see once these guys start actually fighting it out over dragons, and we're going to get right back into the game here.
All right, well, it looks good. We are back into this game right now, and yeah, one thing I think is a little unexpected right here is how King Tahul isn't really up that much CS there on the Jarvan. I'll have to pay a little bit more attention to see how he's doing pathing-wise. Is he just giving up every single scuttle, or how is this really happening? You know, it kind of seems like his pathing is a little bit weird based on the camps that are still up. You know, he went for Wolves, then Blue, and then immediately to Rift Herald rather than going for his Gromp somewhere in the middle. But I think with a champion like Morgana, you should prioritize your extremely quick clear a little bit, though. He is going to be getting a little bit of extra gold there from that Rift Herald, so good for him on that, even if it won't be getting the first tower.
Yeah, for certain, just going to cash that one out in the mid lane, and that does give you a good opportunity where if you're going to still have that prio to get the second Rift Herald later on, will already be primed to be pushed down onto once those plates end up falling, and once that second Rift Herald is available. I'm going to be channeling a recall here is King Tahul. Shadowjack going to find him, interrupt him with the flag. Nice little tempo advantage for the side of Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies there. So that means King Tahul's just going to be set a little bit farther behind here, and if Shadowjack looks around and actually finds these camps, he's going to have a lot to steal away, but he's actually just going to get re-engaged on here. The Soul Shackle's coming on through from this Morgana, going to be landing the stun, but no backup available. Time is just a little bit too far away. He passed around the slower side to avoid getting poked on out by Jedi Tristan. That just means that Jarvan is going to end up escaping, having successfully delayed the Morgana recall yet again, but finally she's going to end up getting it off, going to pick up some items, going to get back on the map.
Yeah, you love to see it. And with another 30 seconds before the dragon spawns, those stops on the recalls were actually pretty impactful. It means that she is not going to be able to get a vision control over the dragon before it does spawn. The Cloud Drake, I think for her kind of a team, is actually pretty impactful. You know, one thing that LS says when it comes to ultimate cooldown, it doesn't really matter what the number is unless your champion really is designed to play around the ultimate. You know, champion like Sion loves having a lower cooldown. The exact same thing can be said for the Leona, for the not necessarily for the Corki, really, because it doesn't really affect your playstyle too much whether or not you have your ultimate up. Same thing for Xerath, right? But with champions like the Sion, with like the Leona, like the Twitch, I think this is a very big dragon for them to potentially get.
Okay, on the side of Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies, they just want to keep this stacking going. They know that with this Cloud Drake spawning second here, it's going to be a higher value soul. It's going to be either mountain or ocean here, and they just want to be able to keep that stacking going so they can eventually claim that objective here. they're getting forced out of the river. The engage coming on through from My Friend Told Me So. He manages to land the Zenith Blade here on a Festive Turtle. The package comes on across from Timmy. They're melting right through Shadowjack like he isn't even there. He falls down. The teleport coming on through from Waffles. You can't cancel that anymore, buddy. And he's going to end up falling down here very likely. Gets chased over the wall by the Zenith Blade. Timmy going to pick up that kill as well. It's a 2 for 0 so far in the favor of the Iron Chefs, and they're just going to turn back to the Dragon, claim their gold, and claim an objective to boot.
Yeah, I was going to say, they could have played that team fight a little bit differently. I would have liked to see them just immediately start hitting the Dragon, force the enemy team to really come into them. Luckily, they do have a lot of catch-up potential. You know, we saw the great Leona play right there, both with her E's hitting and that ultimate right there, almost entirely just removing Jinx from the fight. I don't think she auto-attacked even once. Right there. The Corki patches coming in too, the Jarvan ulting right on top of it, I think does a lot of damage. You really have to watch where you're positioned with that's on the map.
Yeah, I certainly do. And Timmy just comes out, dishing out a huge amount of damage, takes up a couple of kills for himself and his team. They're going to claim the Dragon as well here, have that 10% CDR, and have denied it from the side of Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies. So we got at least 3 more Dragons to go before anyone's going to be claiming this soul this game. That's exactly where Iron Chefs wants it to be. They want this game to take a little bit longer. They got infinite HP stacking in the top lane from their Scion here. They know that Corki and Twitch are just going to be scaling on up as this game keeps going on. And plus Morgana as well. So they're certainly going to be happy to make this game take a little bit longer. But they also have the option to accelerate if they want it here. They got a 2k gold lead. They got 1 Dragon in their pockets here as well. And they picked up the first Herald. They want the second. And they can look to try to make some more pressure kind of across this map.
Yeah, I was just doing a little bit of research, and yeah, one thing that also we didn't talk about that makes the Urgot Scion match even more Urgot favored is that your shotgun knees actually do 8% of your max health damage. So if you're stacking a lot of health like someone like the Scion does, you're going to even taking more damage right there from those Urgot knees, whether or not he owns that wonderful Pajama Guardian skin right there.
Yeah, and the execute, too, going to be a really big deal to be able to melt through the Scion in the later game. If you can just invalidate 20-ish% of his health bar by finishing him off with the Fear Beyond Death, that's going to be a lot of value that you get to stack up on there as you just end up ignoring those resistances. Of course, though, Waffles hasn't really been blowing this lane wide open yet. It got killed earlier on by one of those ganks. Wasn't successful off of that teleport in that last fight either. Now he's going to find himself a little bit behind in gold when compared to Bartholomew Brew. About 700 gold going in the favor of this Scion here.
Yeah, I really would have liked to have seen Shadowjack spending a little bit more time trying to get his top lane and mid lane ahead. I think he had those 2 early ganks there in the mid lane. He had that 1 attempted gank in the top lane. But other than that, we just really haven't seen much from this guy. And slowly it is so you are starting to see the difference in clear speed between him and the Morgana. She is up about 5 camps right now compared to the Jarvan, and slowly but surely that is going to start adding up into a gold lead, into an item lead, into a game lead over here against Shadowjack. Things are going to be starting looking rough for him. Yeah, level 7 to 9. You can believe that?
Yeah, and again, the reason this matters so much is this is why we're in this power farming meta, because it snowballs, right? If you're able to get those camps earlier, then they respawn faster at a higher level, and they give you more gold and XP the next time.
Oh, yeah.
So King Tell is just going to continuously cash in on this as long as he's able to keep his pathing correct and his clearing good. And as we talked about earlier, here's that second Rift Herald going to get picked up by Tell here, and they're going to look to push that through into the mid lane and crack open that turret sooner rather than later. They already have a decent amount of damage on it early on, and forcing the Xerath to no longer really be able to defend, to no longer be able to have that point in the center of the map where he can just sit there and fire lasers all day, that's going to make a big difference in how he's able to perform around the map.
Yeah, definitely. One thing we didn't talk about, or well, I did talk about earlier, is that Leona, again, with the roam, making it so that it can't even contest that kind of a Rift Herald right there. It's completely theirs. Someone who can't roam, definitely, is that... no, I'm blanking right now. What's her name? Popstar. What's her name?
Seraphine?
Seraphine, that's it. I can't believe I couldn't remember her name. But yeah, she's probably one of the worst champions for roaming in the game, much like many other enchanters. The one saving grace is that she does have incredible scaling, especially in team fights. So while they may not be doing much for their team right now, maybe we can see something about 10 minutes from now where she can like really pop up with like a massive W, massive ultimate or something in a team fight. Well, we'll have to see how she plays this one out. Ooh, big
Here comes the Solar Flare engage. The flash forward comes through from My Friend Told Me To, and they're moving forward on the Festive Turtle. The Contaminate's already come on across, not quite enough to finish him off, but there's the Dark Harvest proc comes through from King Tell to make sure that that kill can get finished on up there. With a little bit of help from My Friend Told Me To's Ignite. Another kill goes into the pocket of the Iron Chefs here, and just in time as well, with about 25 seconds to go on this next dragon.
Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of a jungle diff right there. You saw Morgana coming in, using her Q, trying to continue up on these kills, and eventually getting the kill for a team with that Dark Harvest proc. And then Jarvan goes in afterwards, hits the EQ, and then has to flash out. It's just like, guys, don't worry, I am also here. And now with the third dragon on the map right here, things are not looking very good.
Yeah, Waffle's going to get this execute, though. He landed the Fear Beyond Death, flashes forward, continues dishing that damage out to Barthala Brew, and he will end up, or Bartho Brew, rather, as he ends up actually falling on down there, just going a little bit over-aggressive up against the Urgot, taking a few too many passive procs there. That's that percentage health damage you were talking about, Danielson. And he is going to end up falling down as a result here. But his team still going to be looking for this dragon. But they're getting pressured off here. Now with Waffles TPing in, they are at a numbers disadvantage. 10 seconds to go until this Scion can be respawned here. And they might end up just having to give this one away. King Tile and Timmy, though, waiting over the wall, waiting to go on in with the package. It is going to fall down to the side of the fire-breathing rubber duckies. And they're just going to get on out of there right away. They don't want the Scion TP to come through. They're going to take the advantage where they have it.
Yeah, and that's why those solo kills are so important. You notice that Scion did have his teleport available, could have easily been part of that fight as well, but because they had their front line over on the side of the fire-breathing rubber duckies and the Iron Chefs did not, they just weren't able to even walk into the pit. They really didn't have much of their engage aside from the Leona. They couldn't start a fight, and they're losing out on the tempo advantage over here by losing out on that dragon. Don't get solo killed, folks. Otherwise, stuff like that will happen.
Yeah, for certain there. Just a little bit of an advantage gained by Waffles in the top lane, keeping his team in the competition here. They are still down about 3k gold, but are going to be looking to keep stacking on up those Drakes. That is a place where they do still have the advantage in the game. Going to be 2 more to go until they're able to claim that soul, so not too far off of pace, if that is going to be their intention to follow through and win the game. And it's a great option for them as well. They got a lot of ranged damage coming out here. They can really proc something like an Ocean Soul over and over again coming through into the later game to make sure that they're regenning up and can just take those skirmishes really nice, slow, and easy. So would be a good soul for them to obtain if they are able to do so, but they still got a long ways to go.
Hey, who doesn't love a nice Ocean Soul in your back pocket, right there? But yeah, we are 19, almost to 20 minutes now, actually, into this game. We do have Baron on the map, so although Dragon, it's always fun stacking those up, we are going to have to start considering the bigger objective on the map right here, the one that lets you shove lanes, win team fights, and eventually win games for you right there. The one big thing I'm noticing right there is they were able to get that mid lane tier 1 right there. So things are going to be even more difficult right now for the fire-breathing rubber duckies. Some of the inner camps right there, like the chickens or maybe the blue buff even, really are not going to be considered your own camps right now because it's just going to be that much easier for Morgana to walk in, hit the Q, hit the W, and just start auto-tanking all these camps away from that Jarvan. She really hasn't gotten that much more of a CS lead since last time we checked. She brought her lead from 5 camps to about 7 right here, but other than that, things are still very close. Aside from the jungle matchup, she is still up 2 levels on the chart, which is pretty impactful.
Yeah, and that mid-outer being down, too, that's a huge deal for this Xerath in particular. He can't go and stand up at where that turret used to be and fire all Volcano Pulses into the wave anymore, because he's at a big risk of somebody like King Tehil and Barthobrew flanking in behind him through his own jungle to come in and make those plays happen. No dashes, no flashes, other than the one in his summoner spell slot available for the side of Jedi Tristan there. So he's going to be relegated to just farming it up in the side lanes. And you can look there. Look at how far away he has to stand to feel comfortable that he's not going to be ganked here. Now that he knows that a lot of the members of the other team are up in this top lane, he feels more comfortable to move up and get onto that wave. But it's going to be a tough time for Xerath farming these days if he wants to make sure that he doesn't get caught.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you're going to see how he's really going to have a difficult time playing out these team fights if he doesn't start getting a little bit more power in his kit a little bit here. Like, what's the real function of a Xerath right now? Like, get engaged on, is he really going to deal that much damage to the backline with all that range right there? He's going to have a tough time, like, actually remaining useful while the Twitch is just activating his ultimate, completely dominating his own team right there. But, ooh, we might have a little bit of a play right here. We did see the teleport coming out to the bot lane.
Yeah, Waffles came on through, went for the engage with the Stride Breaker, forced the flash out of my friend, told me to. So going to have that Leona tool taken away from the next fight. So everybody just still grouping up in this top lane. It's a 4 versus 4 here, trying to make sure that they can defend this turret. They want to take down that top outer, so it's going to make a lot of a difference as they're looking to push up and try to get some Baron vision. They want to make sure they can get those waves pushed up under the inner turret so that they have all that extra control over the top side jungle, so they can start moving on towards that big purple worm that we were talking about. It's just going to have to take a little bit, though. They're not able to crack through it quite yet. A nice response from the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies nullifies that play, so they're going to recall and they're going to head towards the bottom lane because Dragon Timer is starting to tick down, and they want to make sure they can keep on stacking. That is their primary game plan at this point in the game.
Yeah, definitely. Next Dragon on the map right here. Both teams would love to continue stacking right here. A potential soul point over here would be very, very big for the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. But yeah, kind of weird seeing everyone stacking up in the top lane early there. I've heard of a all random, all mid, but I've never heard of an all random, all top. What would you call that? A rat? No, we're not talking about Twitch on this one right here. But yeah, we are talking about a dragon spawning here in another 5 seconds. Pretty good Morgana Bandit coming out right there. Not a lot of follow-up, though.
Yeah, Tell took a lot of damage on the backside, too. Had to expend the Black Shield just to avoid getting snared on up by Zerothium. So now this jungler, who's going to have to be the one frontlining, heading on into this Dragon Pit to smite it on down, is going to be at lower HP. But here comes an engage from Bartho Brew. Going to get that engage from Porky heading onto the backside. He layers down that huge package and is doing so much damage onto all the members. They're just forced to stand on top of it. Rolf will finally get the executed with the Fear Beyond Death, but it's too little too late, as 4 of his teammates have all fallen down. Jedi Tristan, the last one standing, gonna pop that right of the arcane, trying to snipe down onto Spartan Monkey here, but he's only got 4 shots, not enough for the 4 members of Iron Chefs that are still alive here. They're gonna move forward onto this dragon.
Yeah, there we go. And with that Xerath ultimate down, not a lot of chances to steal that dragon right there. Tying up the dragons 2-2 right here with the Ocean Soul still potentially on the map right here. Ooh, big binding.
Another binding, followed up with the Zenith Blade. Spartan Monkey gonna pick up that kill. Jedi Tristan just standing up a little bit too far. That's that risk of that Xerath we were talking about. Even while he's standing a million miles away, just trying to snipe out onto that dragon with the Rite of Arcane. Eventually, they're going to catch him just trying to wander all the way back towards that inner turret. It just takes him so long. He's not a very fast guy, and they end up catching him out there.
Yeah, and again, that's just why I really don't like the Xerath here in this matchup. You know, they have a lot of potential catch-out right there. He doesn't have the best front line there for his team, and he didn't even have that good of a lane matchup considering he had the blind pick available to him in this kind of a game. It just seems like a weird pick, and a weird pick that isn't even paying off for his team right here.
Not getting the most mileage in this matchup in particular, and we can see they're just continuing to show that they can have some of that dominance in team fights. That's the second big 5v5 team fight we've really seen so far this game, and once again, it's Timmy's package that really makes all the difference there. He layers it down on top of 3 or 4 members. They're forced to run through it while trying to escape the fight as it's already getting lost. They end up just dishing out. I'm sure the damage charts on that must be insane. Given how that fight ended up playing out, and this Corky pick really making its value felt here. It's a great engage tool, it's a great damage tool, it's a rumble ult that you keep in your pocket, and he comes up huge for it.
Absolutely. Timmy has been looking absolutely huge in these team fights, managed to deal insane amount of damage with the high amount of damage cap that you honestly have for the package. It's probably one of the biggest single team fight abilities in the game. Would you say what would probably be bigger? Maybe Vagar Cage?
Yeah, if we're talking about basic abilities and not ultimates, it's definitely got to be way up there. It's almost an ultimate. Yeah. It's got its own little 5-minute cooldown, but you got the missile barrage on top of it, and so gonna be almost like a 5th ability in that way. You do get your Valkyrie cooldown back right after using it, so it doesn't really. Almost doesn't count as a basic ability either, just certainly one of the best passives if you want to put it in that category.
Oh yeah, I actually got into an argument with someone recently. Sorry to not be talking about the game right here, but which basic ability do you think is better, Yasuo Windwall or Cassiopeia W? Let's hear it.
It's got to be Wind Wall, right? Although, hold up a second. Jedi Tristan's playing a little ring around the rosy here in the alcove. He's trying to dodge away from My Friend Told Me To, but he's eventually just going to get caught out here by King Tell. The Soul Shackles are down. The stun comes through, and Timmy going to come on through just to pick up another kill. He wants all that gold funneled into his carry, Corky, coming into this later game, and he is going to claim that Xerath for himself here. 40 seconds to go on that respawn timer, and they're just pushing in the bottom lane now. They know that there's multiple members topside for the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies, so they just want to try to break open this bot lane inner turret.
Exactly, and Jedi Tristana right there is just, he has that Dark Seal sitting in his inventory. I think it got to 1 stack earlier right there, but that is not what you want to have on your Dark Seal, especially on someone like Xerath. You can imagine in a scenario where he did have the 10 stacks on a Medgeist earlier. He had the 10% move speed, has been able to avoid some of these skill shots over here at the Xerath, but unfortunately, no, this is not the right comp for that champion. Maybe he can get some really good DPS in the later half of these team fights right here, but so far, it's just not looking like a good pick right here. You know, I've said it time and time again. Back to the real conversation. Yasuo Windwall, so much better than Cassiopeia W, right?
I'm leaning Windwall for sure if we're going to have that sort of debate here. It's just the ability to nullify so many abilities, the ability to really create that zone, and the fact that it's so non-committal as well. It's kind of the Cassiopeia if you're going to throw down the Miasma closer to you, then you already have to get up really close to somebody. You kind of want to be kiting backwards already so it fits in with the champion, but you know, the ability to completely nullify any kind of range DPS, 80 carry auto attacks, you know, a lot of skill shots coming through from most mid laners. It just gives you so much more value, whereas, you know, the Miasma, it's a little more situational. Not everybody's trying to dash at you all the time. Not everybody ends up not getting value.
You see, that is exactly what I'm saying. And what else I'm saying is that we have another dragon spawning in 20 seconds right here. Not a lot of vision coming out here from the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. And although we don't have the Corky package just yet, I think they might be coming here, but a big team fight engage.
Yeah, tons of CC layered down onto Waffles there. He's going to end up falling down here before we can even get started, and that's not what his team is looking for here. Although Spartan Monkey taking a lot of damage here. The right of the Arcane coming through from Xerath, going to force the flash out of that rat there, but not able to quite snipe him on down with the last one. He actually manages to land it on the backside. Jedi Tristan really predicting the movements of Spartan Monkey there and ends up picking him up with 3 right of the Arcanes in a row. But now here's a big package from Timmy coming into the backside. He's going to melt on through Shadowjack, but now might be up a little bit too far. The shield comes on through, but not going to be enough to keep him alive here, as they are actually managed to take this fight front to back. Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies have picked up 2 members already, and they're both of the big damage threats from the side of Iron Chefs. They can look to advance forward onto this dragon now, but they're still worried about getting picked off by a Dark Binding.
Yeah, kind of weird right there. I thought Timmy could use this package a little bit earlier there to much greater value. Unfortunately, it did look like he waited a bit long to do it right there. Wasn't able to cancel the Xerath ultimate. Wasn't able to be very relevant. His team wasn't really there or still alive to follow up on that kind of engage. But with these deaths still there, I think they could just start up on that dragon right there. Jarvan should be in the dragon pit pretty soon. And but it looks like they're going to be going for even more of a fight.
Yeah, Waffles once again getting CC'd onto here, but that was not, looked like a bad start last time, but it ended up working out in favor of his team, as now they're going to look to get themselves up to Soul Point here, but that's not something Iron Chefs are going to give up lightly. They got My Friend Told Me To coming through here on the flank, looking for a potential engage. The respawns have already come on through. Timmy and Spartan Monkey are arriving right as I speak here, but now Waffles going in for this engage, going to get hit on by that devastating charge coming through from Barthol Boo. He's trying to get on through here, and then he is going to be able to pick up that kill with the help of Spartan Monkey. Now the Dragon taking down incredibly low. Red team going to be able to smite that one down, but Shadowjack going to fall down in trade for it. Festive Jack now trying to move on away, or Festive Turtle rather, as he does end up falling on down. Gets picked up for a double kill by Spartan Monkey here. They don't get the Dragon, but they win the fight and are now going to look to push it on up towards Baron, with Shadowjack still down for 25 more seconds.
Absolutely. Fire-breathing Rubber Ducky is just, yeah, you don't think they're going to win the team fights, but somehow they managed to pull it out. Right there. And now with King Tohai being the only jungler still active on the map, I think this Baron is pretty easily going to be theirs. They do technically have the Xerath ultimate, but that's really not, that shouldn't do a lot to actually steal those right here. This should be theirs. The one thing that I will say might be something I have to look out for is that Jinx Rocket. It is going to be getting nerfed on the next patch, but no, she's not going to be alive for this one. No 3k HP Baron smites coming out from a Jinx Rocket right here.
No, not here. Right to the Arcane. Once again, almost making the difference there. King Tile getting sniped out on by a couple of those blasts, but is able to avoid just enough that he's able to stay alive and smite down onto that Baron. That's going to be another huge gold influx going into the pocket of the Iron Chefs. They got themselves about a 7k gold lead here. Not on soul point like their opposition are, but as long as they are able to avoid giving over that 4th and final dragon, they are sitting pretty here, but need to make sure that they don't end up with another unfortunate fight like they took just a couple moments ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We do have the Dragon Soul point available for the Firebirds. It should be pointed out that, yes, we are indeed at 30 minutes. We are in the late game, per se. So Jinx should be pretty heavily online at this point right there. She did opt into the Ruan's Hurricane, finished off by the LDR right there. Well, Twitch, it looks like, is going for the LDR into the IE. Now, personally, I think that it would be better to go for the Phantom Dancer second item on the Jinx. Yeah, you wouldn't get the AoE multi-rockets right there, but you'd be able to get that single target damage, especially with something like the Kraken Slayer, can really open up a lot there for your passive and really help you detonate certain individual targets, which I think is going to be her judge this game. Like, it's not like she has a whole lot of backline people that she can be autoing right there. She really just want to focus down the one guy that's like diving her, you know?
Yeah, it is certainly what they're going to want to be focusing on here. We're going to see how the engages actually end up playing out. It's been My Friend Told Me to really leading the charge on a lot of these ones so far, but Barthobrew should also be able to really get on in there with the unstoppable onslaught and make sure that he can cause some disruption in these fights as well. Just hasn't really quite found the best opportunities as of yet. Was able to go into one dragon fight earlier on, but that's going to be a huge binding landed onto Waffles. He's just too thick with all those legs he's got in addition to him. Gets sniped out on the very edge. It's going to end up falling down there in the top lane.
Yeah, that guy's got legs for days right there. Unfortunately, his days are numbered there in the top lane. He's going to be back up here in about 40 seconds for his team, during which they should be able to do a lot here with that Baron buff. They're hammering down that top lane with 2 champions, hammering down that mid lane as well. But unfortunately, they do have a lot of wave clear there in the Xerath, in the Jinx rockets. That was going to be the one advantage of going for that Ruan's Hurricane there on Jinx. She will have an easier time clearing these minions with fewer autos, but she's not doing too good of a champion right there. She has about a third of the health left on that tower. This might be going down before the Urgot comes back up.
Yeah, even with the Baron, though, you can see Iron Chefs, they have a little bit of trouble sieging it out here, as Time and Spartan Monkey just have lower attack ranges. It's hard for them to really feel comfortable stepping on up without fear of getting encored by Zerothium. So they are going to end up backing on away here without being able to claim that turret. But there is going to be another dragon up in just about a minute here, and that is going to be in the sight of fire-breathing rubber duckies, and of course for Iron Chefs as well. They do not want to end up giving over Ocean Soul. That's going to be quite the pain for them actually managing to close out this game if they do give it up.
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, I haven't talked about this at all, but Time is doing an absolutely beautiful job right here of playing around his packages and timing them up with the dragons. You don't often see a lot of mid laners doing that. They want to get their first package up there as soon as it spawns, you know, make a play, either bot lane or top lane. But this guy, he's saving it for when the dragon spawns right here. We're about 30 seconds before the dragon spawns. It lasts a minute in your inventory. And he's going to be able to use it to win a fight, and then you get the objective for his team. Really, really great play there by Tim. Waffles almost getting caught out.
Yeah, just another Dark Binding, and it's just one of those that makes all the difference here in these fights. Nobody has Merc Treads over on the side of Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. They've itemized for armor primarily, it looks like, in most of these boot choices, as far as for Waffles and Shadowjack. That means these Dark Bindings, the full weight really comes on across. You're standing there, you're growing old, you're getting married and having children, you're still just sitting there stuck in the Dark Binding, but now here comes the engage coming on through from My Friend Told Me To, and now it's going to be in the backside. Timmy just jumps onto Jedi Tristan with the assistance of the package and is able to pick up the kill there, gets the double kill onto the jungler as well. Waffles is just such low HP, is ticking down to that poison, not going to be able to pick it up. Timmy, he sees more kills in his sights. He flashes forward, trying to get a couple more missile barrages across, isn't able to do so, but this third dragon for the side of Iron Chef's going to be claimed, and they're going to look to march forward and maybe pick up a little bit of the base as well. Teleport from Barthobrew in the top lane. They know there's only 3 members alive on the side of Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. It's going to be difficult for them to cover every single one of these turrets. Another TP actually coming across for Timmy here as the engage comes through onto Barthobrew. He's taken down incredibly low here. He's going to get executed down by the Fear Beyond Death. The shield does not mean anything when your base health is that low, and that means the Fear comes through onto Timmy. He falls down as well, able to trade one back off of the Sabi puppy scion, but it's a little bit of over-aggression going to mean 2 members of Iron Chefs fall down to that top lane.
Yeah, that's kind of like a weird play coming out there from Bartha Broom. I could see maybe that being good if you still had the Baron buff, but the next Baron is coming up in about 30 seconds. The math numbers just do not check out right there. And speaking of numbers, we're going to be looking at 30 more seconds before he respawns right here. Will be up by the time that Baron spawns, but may not make it there if they decide to do it on spawn over there on the side of the Firebirds. Luckily, that probably will not be happening. They do have their base cracked wide open over here by the Iron Chefs. This is going to be a pretty impactful next Baron right here. I don't want to say that the team who gets this will be the one who wins, but Firebirds could potentially lose if they give up this Baron.
Yeah, it would definitely be a rough comeback here. They've lost all their inhibitor turrets. They're going to lose a huge amount of their base if they end up giving up this Baron buff. So, of course, they are going to end up grouping up around here. They can't really feel comfortable moving on up into the river. They know that that area belongs to the Iron Chefs, but they are going to be on the backside here, sweeping away all the wards that they can. King Tile here gonna get spotted out on. The Solar Flare gonna come on across onto Zerothium, follow up with the Zenith Blade. They're looking to get all the CC layer down onto this Seraphine, but Waffles is here to dissuade everybody from following on up. They are not gonna be able to complete the pick onto the support of FBRD, and now they're gonna just look to move on out here. The Blast Cone gonna get popped to get Leona back over to the other side. There's another Dark Binding landed onto Shadowjack. They're trying to take the engage options that they have. Phosphorus Bomb over the wall does a huge amount onto Shadowjack there. They are just going to be able to disengage, but they've lost so much pressure over this Baron. Waffle's going to find himself picked off again. Timmy picks off that kill. Zerothium going to just try to stop the engage from coming on through. Lands a nice encore onto multiple people, but isn't actually able to have his carries there to back them on up. But the CC just getting layered down here. Seraphine doing so much with the beat drop, but Twitch comes through with the ultimate, just melts through 2 members instantly. Festive Turtle and Shadowjack are trying to run away. They're at such low HP totals. They're at risk of burning down to poison, but it does look like they are going to be able to escape right of the Arcane. Comes on across Spartan Monkey. Going to be forced to use the stasis, but that means the 5th shot gonna be enough for Jedi Tristan to pick up the trade kill on the backside. It's a 2 for 2 all in all, but control over the Baron goes over to the side of the Iron Chefs.
Yeah, Spartan Monkey not playing that very correctly right there. I don't think he actually needed his Zonias, that last Arcane Barrage there from the Xerath, and didn't need to make himself vulnerable to that 5th shot right there. People forget about that 5th shot still. It's been in his kit for a few seasons now, but people are still kind of used to the 3-shot Xerath cannon coming in right there. It's it can get you. It can get you right there. One thing I would like to point out right there is Corki actually finishing up his 4th item is going to be scaling like a monster and will have his Infinity Edge very, very soon. I think that in these next few fights, he's really going to have to be someone we look out for right here.
Yeah, certainly will be here. We saw Spartan Monkey just dished out a huge amount of damage there, coming in with the ultimate, coming in with the hail of blades, melted right on through, I believe it was Zerothium, and got Shadowjack and Festive Turtle so low as well, just really showing the team fight power he's bringing as well. Timmy's been the focus of pretty much all these team fights thus far, but quietly on the backside, this sneaky rat has just been farming up so much CS, it's been keeping up all of his assist gold as well, and now is able to come through and really dish out a huge amount of havoc in these team fights. So now this is going to be the Soul Dragon spawning in just about 50 seconds here. It's going to come down to this for which team is going to end up claiming that Ocean Soul.
Definitely. I did say a team fight earlier would mean the Baron would mean winning the game. Unfortunately, neither team played the team fight well enough that they could really take the Baron afterwards. So now, with the Dragon spawning, this is where we're going to see all the marbles come into play right here. I will say, though, interesting that we're going to see a serrated Dirk coming out of the Twitch right here. I'm not entirely sure what item that's going to be, but I do not like it. Maybe a Collector. I would prefer him to go for a Mercurial Scimitar right here, so he could QSS the key pieces of CC coming out here from Firebirds, or maybe something else like a Borg, or really anything else. I just do not like that lethality item coming out here from the Twitch. But hey, Corki package might be making up for it here in this fight. And weird pathing over here. They could just like hammer this down, but This is a weirdly played team fight. What am I looking at?
Yeah, trying to use Right of the Arcane to get a little bit of vision. Are getting some pressure on a Spartan Monkey, forcing him on back. He is forced to use the heal, but now here comes a huge package coming through from the side of Timmy. He's immune to CC, so the Encore just gets completely nullified. And now the Twitch comes through with the spray and pray, picks up the instant triple kill. Looking to make it the Quadra. He does it. He trades his life for it. No Penta in the cards for Spartan Monkey this game, but it is going to be a victory in the cards for him here as they pick up that Ocean Soul, and they're going to look to transition that into the entire game. Timmy and Barthobrew, they TP into the base here. Jedi Tristan is here to try to stop them, but he is just a Xerath all on his own. Can't deal with this Scion getting right up in his face. What are you going to do when Barthobrew's trying to hammer down all of your turrets? The answer seems to pretty much be nothing.
Yeah, definitely. He is going to get caught out right there by Leona, and it is going to be finished up right there. Timmy with the last kill right there, taking down that turret. And I talked about this earlier, but they are going to be going right with that game one win. Timmy, absolutely beautiful played so far by this game. You saw in that last team fight, I managed to completely spit it up right there with this package. Really good control, saving each one of those for the team fights around Drake. And, you know, we did say they had the better comp and they were the favorites to win right here, but I don't think they would have won this one without Timmy.
No, very possibly not. And King's Hollow also coming up huge this game, not dying a single time and really having some unsung praises in his last couple of team fights, especially that last one. He throws the Black Shield onto Timmy, pretty much invalidates the Encore coming through from Zerothium in its entirety. And it just means that there's not really any locations left for these mistakes to come on through the side of Iron Chefs. There's no cracks left in the armor, and they're not going to end up falling down in any of these team fights with fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. They're going to advance themselves up to 1-0 in this best of 3, and are now just one game away from being able to advance themselves up to quarterfinals.
Absolutely. This is going to be a very exciting game 2 coming out right here. So the changes that I'm going to be looking for here in this one are honestly going to be in the draft right here. I think that fire-breathing Rubber Duckies played well enough that they could have easily come away with this win. I just think that when they look at some of the picks that they decided for like that Jarvan into the Morgana there in the jungle. I mean, look at his scoreline, 0-6-4. Look at what he able to accomplish. Basically nothing in the game outside of a little extra pressure there in the mid lane. He didn't really have a mid laner that could actually use that pressure really well. If he was playing with something like his Zed, I'd say maybe it'd be an okay pick. But if you're going for the Xerath there, if you already know that you're going to be looking for something like that, it's just not the pick that you want to be looking for basically ever. I don't even like the Xerath, honestly. I think they should put the Seraphine mid, maybe even gone for like a Thresh or something in the bot lane, so they can even get a little bit of extra pressure there against the Twitch, really, who is a champion who should not be getting out of lane without being punished. Just overall, a lot of questions here in the draft. If they come away with something a little bit cleaner here from both teams, I could easily see this going to game 3.
Yeah, no, 5k damage from Shadowjack in this last game. Not the place where you want to be as a jungler in the current meta. So going to want to see a revisit on that pick in particular. But we're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get up into draft for game number 2. But do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back to see if fire-breathing Rubber Duckies can clap back up against the Iron Chefs, or if the Iron Chefs are just going to sweep this series and cruise on over to quarterfinals. You're going to have to find out. We'll be right back.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's stream of the Risen Rampage round of 16. We are getting into our playoffs here, and our first match currently sitting in favor of the Iron Chefs here, standing 1-0 over the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. We are only at best of threes at this point in the playoffs, so that means there is one more game here to be won by Iron Chefs, would knock fire-breathing Rubber Duckies out of Risen Premade Rampage and would guarantee the Iron Chefs that berth all the way up to the quarterfinals.
Oh, yeah. Back against the wall over here for the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. We're going to have to see some serious pickup right here if you want to see a repeat there of that last game. Mainly looking for not a Jarvan pick is what I'm talking about right there. How about you, man?
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more meta junglers coming on through here. Even some of the ones who are kind of, from yesterday's meta. The Udyr, still something that you can go in on. The Volibear, still an option that's available. You don't have to change over your entire champion pool to these mage junglers. You don't have to play only, Rumble, Morgana, Kindred. You don't have to be all carries all the time now after months and months of tanks. You can still pick some tanks, but Jarvan, probably not the tank for you.
Yeah, no chem tank rush here anymore we're going to be seeing. But we are going to be seeing a draft starting up here for the game 2. Already into this one, we're seeing continuation of that last game. We saw Rel, Senna, Swain as the last one with Tristana, Alistar, Shen. A lot of bot laner, a little bit of top lane right there, and a little bit of repeats coming out over here from both these teams. We do not want to be seeing the Alistar or the Shen or the Swain or the Senna. Are we going to see any bans from the last game right there? Maybe Morgana coming out? I'm not entirely sure if we're going to see. Oh, there it is. Love to see it.
The Morgana ban does come across. That speaks a lot to me, though, Danielson. As I think that means that Shadowjack does not play it. As I think quite a few teams would be willing to first pick that one on the blue side here with that opportunity. Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies are going to be the boys in blue this coming game, but the Morgana going to be banned away by them nonetheless and not going to be an option. For those keeping track at home, that does mean that the Tristana, that was the ban for the Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies previously, is going to be taken off the board. It's now going to be available for picking, and now that Rel ban going to lock in the fact that Iron Chefs are keeping the exact same bans from last game. And now the Leona lock-in comes on through from Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. They're going to steal that one away from the side of Iron Chefs here and make sure that they're going to have access to that pick at the bottom lane.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of weird going for the Leona first pick right there. Is going to get followed up there by that Tristana. That's a pretty good duo, but there are a lot of counter picks that do exist to the Leona. You could go for something like a Thresh, probably one of the best counter picks to that in the game. Or you could go someone else who really says, okay, yeah, you can engage on me. Let's scrap. Let's do this. You can go for something like a Pike. You can even go for something like a Nautilus into there. Or you can just go for the Braum and maybe hope to outscale, even if that isn't that good of a matchup right there. I'm pretty interested to see if we're going to see any of that coming out here on the first rotation. Ooh, Maokai. Now that's interesting right there. He sees a lot of play in the support position right now. I believe he doesn't even show up if you search top lane champions. Right now in Champ Select. He sees that little play.
Yeah, I like this pick for the aggression in the bottom lane to pair on up with that Tristana. They can go really hard in the early game using that Twisting Advance plus Rocket Jump to go in on you at the exact same time. A lot of damage going to come through from that explosive shot, plus the saplings on Maokai to just layer that damage through onto Leona, plus whatever 80 carry they end up pairing with them here. And we talked about how you could still pick some of these old school junglers, and it is going to be the Hecarim locked in by the side of Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. Now, very curious as to how this build is going to end up going, because while there's been base nerfs across the board and there's been nerfs specifically to the Turbo Chem tank to try to make Hecarim worse, that tank build isn't the only build he can go. He's had some of his AD ratios actually buffed, and AD Hecarim was kind of the build that people were going for before that Turbo Chem tank really became the meta anyway. So still definitely some options available for how Hecarim would want to itemize. But now Caitlyn going to be locked in to pair up with this Leona.
I actually kind of like the Caitlyn right here. There aren't many 80s carries that can win lane against something like a Tristana Maokai, but Caitlyn does definitely have the options to play that right there. Meanwhile, Hecarim, there are a lot of counter picks to that still available in the jungle. And without a solidified build, I think this is a pretty bad blind pick with jungle right here. we're going to see, okay, Volibear is one of them right there. I think that Rumble is actually probably one of the best counter picks to him right now. He did see a lot of buffs recently, and if you go Hail of Blades, get your passive, Hecarim just gets absolutely destroyed in a 1v1 in kind of a scuttle crab fight. And not to mention the Rumble ultimate just being so relevant there in the late game, probably even more so than Hecarim in a team fight. Volibear, definitely a champion. He can be flexed into the top lane, into the jungle. So we're going to have to see where they end up taking him right there. And the bans that are coming out because of that.
Yeah, after going completely through picks and bans last game, I've given up hope on seeing the Rumble in the jungle for this series, but that is perfectly fine, as I am very excited to see that bear coming through from the side of the Iron Chefs here. This is a great matchup into the Hecarim. Should be even better now on 11-9 that those Chem Tank nerfs have come on through, and that Hecarim is a little bit weaker than he once was. So Volibear certainly going to be having a great old time here. Sylas and Xerath ban's going to come on across for Iron Chefs. They've decided they don't want to deal with Jedi Tristan on that long-range artillery mage again. And the Corki ban as well means we're going to see a brand new mid lane matchup coming into game 2.
Ooh, yeah, I do love seeing both these bans coming out right there. I don't think the Xerath was actually impactful enough to warrant a ban right there, but maybe the pick that he's angling for is actually pretty bad into Xerath. So let's see what he's got over here. Ooh, Gnar. Okay, so they are confirming that the Volibear will be in the jungle. Gnar is a pretty good blind pickable top lane right there. You did actually say that in the last game, didn't you?
I did bring it up. The Urgot, the Gnar, the Renekton, I feel are like the holy trinity for blind pick top laners. If you want to just have a bruiser guy who's going to be up there, he can do it all. He can do the side lanes. He can do the team fights. He can do the 1v1, can do the split push. You can always have options available. Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies, they're going to still just take their Urgot into that. That's the pick they like into the Gnar, and they're going to lock it on in. For the side of Waffles, he's going to play a second Urgot game in a row there. Did not have the best time in the first game, but is looking to have those fortunes change around here. And now Jedi Tristan, he's got his Xerath band away, he's got his Sylas band away. He's got to go for a blind pick mid laner here. Would expect something like an Orianna. Would expect maybe another control mage to come on across, something like a Victor. Or an Azir. If you're really feeling an Azir, you could go for an Azir, and that is going to be the lock-in here. Some more really powerful choke control, some potential engage opportunities off of that slide and glide. But yeah, that's going to be their blind pick here for this matchup.
You said slide and glide? Is that what you called it?
Yeah.
I prefer Shurima Shuffle, but yeah, either way. Actually, Xerath is probably one of the better counter picks there to Azir in the mid lane. Probably going to have to come out something like Orianna. Ooh, actually, I'm not too big of a Malzahar fan of this counter pick right here. You can easily get your shield broken by the Azir. You can get out DPS'd, and unless you have jungle gank, which you do have pretty good setup for on the Malzahar, you are very vulnerable to just straight up losing lane here in this kind of a matchup right here. So yeah, maybe you can be pretty useful in team fights with either preventing an engage from a Hecarim, but you just have so many forms of engage here on the Firebirds that I really do not like the Malzahar coming out right here on the Iron Chefs. Pick that I think would have been pretty good actually is you can't pick the Xerath in terms of a artillery mage, but you can still go for the Lux even, who I think is actually a little undervalued in the meta at the moment, or even the Ziggs right there. You could have also gone for the Zindra, who I think actually has kill pressure in this kind of a match right there and offers a lot to the team. But seeing the Malzahar, who is pretty easy to play, basically anyone can play Malzahar. Maybe it was a champion pool limiting factor coming out here for Tim A. It's hard to tell.
And that Malzahar pick, it really does kind of lock on in the side of Iron Chefs into going for this more pick-focused composition versus the front-to-back team fighting that we saw last game. They're going to want to be trying to catch people out using their Maokai Volibear with those target-based CCs, using the Nether Grasp from the Malzahar, and using the massive amount of damage coming from Tristana onto single targets to just try to pick off individual members of the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. And they are looking like they aren't really going to have too many dedicated tanks over on their side. Of course, they are going to have the Leona, but she's got to deal with the support's budget. And Hecarim especially not really rocking the tank build as great as he once was. Turbo Chem Tank, just a worse item in general, and very well might see him going for a little bit more of a bruiser itemization path now that those ratios have been changed around.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very interested to watch this Hecarim, see what he goes for, see if maybe we see like some kind of full AD Hecarim popping off right here, but yeah, honestly, but when I'm going back, I'm looking at these competitions, I still got to say, I kind of still like Iron Chefs a little bit more, with a major exception right there beating the Malzahar, who I just do not believe has a place in this comp. Sure, he can kind of pump out DPS a little bit late game if you get really good Qs off, if you get that Leandries and like 3 other items, but I think either of these teams could come away with this victory right here. It's hard to tell who actually has the advantage.
Yeah, Firebreathe and Rubber Duckies are coming out with a comp that looks like they just haven't been reading patch notes for all season long. Is all these nerf guys who used to be really the forefront of this meta are coming on across. The Leona was huge pick and ban right at the beginning of the season when we were all super focused on those engaged supports. The Azir was into that category as well when we were full on into control mages, watching Azir, Corki, Victor, Orianna every single game. And the Hecarim, the latest victim of the nerf bat here, was super powerful, was one of those top 2 junglers up there with Udyr when the Turbo Chem Tank was that most powerful option available. But no longer is the case here, has suffered some nerfs to himself as well as to his previous item of choice. And now is going to be looking for a little bit of redemption here up against a champion that was supposed to counter him even when he was at his peak and now is looking quite a little bit weaker.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I still think that if they get rolling on these kind of picks, they can easily ignore those nerfs coming out right there. They have a lot of different ways they can play this one right here. I think that Hecarim has a lot of good lanes he can come into right here. He has the Leona engage he can play off in the bot lane. He has the Urgot, who, although it's probably going to be a little bit rougher right there, he is against the Gnar, who easily dies to basically every gank, some of the worst base stats in the game, well in mini form. And he has the Azir Malzahar matchup, who, again, I said, is very Azir favored in the early game. As long as you're playing it right, though. I think that if Jedi Tristan just said, screw it, give me the Azir, then I think Time on the Malzahar could look for some openings right there. It's definitely a matchup where as long as both champions know what they're doing, it's Azir favored. But if they're not, Malzahar is really easy to play. It's basically like a more complicated Annie,
Yeah, and once again, going to be really curious to see how things are going to go in this bottom lane, as both of these guys have picked super aggressive lanes. Both of these squads coming in, looking to get 2v2 kills against the opposition here. And it's really going to be up to how they end up playing it. How much harass can the Maokai end up getting down? Can he dodge on some super important skill shots using that twisted advance? Also going to be something to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. And these junglers as well. Shadowjack going to be able to be a little bit more active here in the early game, just like he was on the Jarvan, but now maybe has a little bit more of a scaling opportunity, maybe can represent a little bit more value later on, can at least keep on farming up to make sure he has those items. Whereas King Tehel now also has that power to gank early on, has the selection-based CC in the form of that Thundering Blow, can come on through, can make ganks happen early on. It doesn't have to be relegated to just farming it up like he was on the Morgana.
Absolutely. And by the way, I did mention earlier, but I think Annie would have also been a better pick than the Malzahar right here. But hey, enough getting to that one right here. We're going to get to the spectator delay here in just a moment right there. We took a little extra time in the champ select. I've already said that I prefer not picking Malzahar. I think either one of these team comps could come away here with this win. It's all going to be how they play around the pressure early. But you have any other final notes you have before we get into this delay?
Yeah, I was really impressed by Spartan Monkey's Twitch performance in the last game. Really was able to just hold all his cards until it was time to go in. Was able to pick his moments really effectively there on the Twitch, who I think has less moments available than something like the Tristana, whereas this was banned away from him in game one. Now he's getting to bust it out. My eyes are going to be in this bot lane to see how Spartan Monkey's able to perform on this Tristana now that he's been given access to this pick. With that said, we're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get loaded up in the game, just like Danielson said, but do not touch that browser. We're going to be right back here to find out if Iron Chefs are able to take it in 2 or if Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies are going to bring us all the way to 3 games for tonight.
Let's go.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running low. Keep running low. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Risen Rampage playoffs here for the round of 16. We have got fire-breathing Rubber Duckies here on the blue side looking to come back after losing game 1 to the Iron Chefs here on the red side. The Iron Chefs with one more victory going to advance themselves up to the quarterfinals. We are just here for a best of 3 tonight. So it's do or die for the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies here. They're coming back with a different-looking team composition, looking to see if that's going to be the secret to taking down these chefs.
Yeah, definitely. None of these teams really has that strong of a level 1 right there. You know, no Threshes, no Blitzcranks. So they will be just looking out for the invades right there.
That's
They
big
chunked out
value
there.
sapling right there. That's the explode, full AoE, no loss of damage, chunking
Oh, yeah.
everybody for, like 80 to 100 damage there. Gotta feel really good if you're, my friend told me to be landing one of those.
Yeah, definitely. Actually forcing the Caitlyn 2 back. I think she might have been able to heal up enough off that fleet footwork, maybe off the camp, off the first few. But, you just go for a little bit of extra value there in the health. But yeah, here we are, minute 22 in, and we're going to see both junglers probably going bot to top on their clears, I'm thinking. Now, before we get into any of that business right there, let's talk about the important stuff. Who's winning the skin game over here in this game too?
I have not gotten to do some in-depth analysis of skins as of yet, but I think there's skins for every member of the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies here, so they're definitely showing up in style. But Hextech Malzahar as well, though, coming through for the side of Timmy, though. That's one of those gemstone exclusive skins there, so you really got to factor that one into your analysis.
Yeah. I also really like the Firefighter Tristana. I think that it doesn't have a lot of particle effects, but I think just theme, it's really fun. And it's probably my favorite one for her right there. I will say, though, as a pretty big Gnar player, I am not that big of a fan of the Samsung Galaxy skins. I probably wouldn't even put that top 3, honestly, for him right there. I think, honestly, the most underrated one, probably the El Leon skin, the little Mocho Wrestler one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I can see that. I can
People
see
don't
that.
like that one. People think that Gentleman Gnar is the best one, which I heavily disagree with. I think the animations are just so much better on Leon. His Q feels awesome with that skin.
Fair. It's fair. Do have Totemic Maokai also. The saplings have noses, so you gotta love that one here. As we are gonna see.
Let's get into the actual cast. Now.
Yeah, I was gonna say this aggression coming in here from the side of the Iron Chefs in the bot lane. They should be the ones who are able to get the push here early on because they can at least have their Maokai kind of stepping up, getting some saplings into the wave, and they also auto push with Tristana Explosive Shot, whereas Zerothium kind of just has to sit there, can use the shares when he has them, but doesn't really have too much else to be dishing out damage to the minion wave. So this is how we expect this matchup to end up going, and should give a little bit of a lead early on in the CS to the side of Spartan Monkey, and my friend told me to. They should be able to hit those level thresholds early, but an early gank coming through from Shadowjack and a force the flash out of Bartho Brew. He ends up getting slowed on down by this Urgot and might go down for first blood. The flash forward to finish off the damage from Waffles comes on through, and he is going to be able to pick that one up. But now look at King Tell. He is huge on this Volibear, can burst right on through the Urgot to make it a 1-for-1. Now going to just be backed on away from the side of Shadowjack. Did use his ghost to make that play happen. And now the bot lane going at each other here. Spartan Monkey tries to jump over the trap, but that does get you all the way up in the air. And he will end up taking an extra headshot for his troubles. Nobody going to go down in this bot lane exchange, though. Look at how low my friend told me to is, though.
Akrumba, yeah, only about 200 HP and very little mana. I believe he is going to be popping some of those biscuits to get it a little bit back. But yeah, top lane fight going absolutely beautifully. But it looks kind of good at both sides at different points right there. Shadowjack with a really good E there to stop the Gnar double bounce right there. But Volibear coming in for a cleanup and forcing away the Ghost Summoner spell there from that Hecarim. He's going to get himself a clean double scuttle right there. Really good job, King Toll, on that Hecarim.
Yeah,
he really... Volibear turn. That's what I meant.
Yeah, he's off to a great start here, and once again now he's going to be heading a little step ahead of Shadowjack here coming into this bottom lane. Zerothium might end up face checking him here. He comes on across, and now here comes the engage from my friend told me to, but might have bitten off more than he can chew here. He's already taking up the turret and is going to end up falling down. Busts the ignite onto the side of Festive Turtle to try to finish off that kill. Isn't able to do so. That's going to be the first kill of the bottom lane going in favor of the Iron Chefs. They donate that right over to Festive Turtle's Caitlyn, and they're going to feel a lot more empowered in that bottom lane.
Yeah, kind of weird there on the Maokai engage. You know, you really have to take into account where the person is going to be when your W finishes up right there. I like the Moxie right there going for it, but it was not looking too good for him right there. A little bit too deep right there. Unfortunately, we are going to be giving a little bit of a lead to Caitlyn, a champion who I didn't think was going to be winning this lane too hard. Tristan is usually a champion that has a lot more pressure to be working with.
Yeah, and a little bit of a botched dive from my friend told me to. Thought King Tell was going more aggressively off of that engage onto Zerothium and ends up paying the price for it, but they are going to be able to just return to lane. The Cios is still a little bit in the lead of Spartan Monkeys. He's going to look to crash into this wave, and that push advantage means that Volibear can just go solo out this first Infernal Dragon, net it for the side of Iron Chefs here. So they're going to have a little bit more damage in their pockets for the rest of this game, and they're going to be off to the races for their soul stack.
Definitely love to see that right there. Getting yourself a little bit of extra early power to work with right there. A little bit of boost on that AP. It does affect base, so it is going to be pretty impactful on champions like Tristana, who loves every little bit of AD she can get her hands on right there. The next dragon is going to be Cloud right there, meaning we all either have the mountain or the ocean soul to be working with right here. And with both these teams, I think both of them would love either of those dragons.
Yeah, same two options that we had in the last game, actually. So we're going to call this one rigged. But definitely would love another ocean soul if they are able to get it in their pockets. Definitely both of these teams would also get value out of the mountain. The fact that it's not the Cloud Soul is the really big deal here, as these guys are going to be looking to make sure they can secure one of those more powerful souls for themselves. That's really going to make the big differences coming into these team fights later on. We can check across some of these lanes here. Timmy has got a nice substantial CS lead for himself on his Malzahar counter pick. Doesn't seem like it's going to have the most kill pressure, but it can certainly just keep this Azir shoved up under turret until he can get more attack speed in his pocket, and that means Timmy can likely go around roam. Has access to the Nether Grasp, but now will be quite the force if he shows up into that bottom lane. Just want to see what he's going to be able to accomplish here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at some of these first few items, actually seeing the Lucidity Boots first item is kind of weird there on the Volibear. You'd think he'd want the Balmy Cinder as early as possible. I can go for early boots, but early Lucidity Boots, it seems just like a lot of gold throwing into something that really you don't need that much on that champion. It's not like Udyr, who every little ounce of move speed they can get is an advantage. You already have that move speed boost there with your Q when you're trying to go for an engage, but hey, live and let live. He can do what he wants right there. Either way, let's look at some of these lane states right now. It's fairly even across the map. Azir actually down a little bit of CS there against the Malzahar, champion who really doesn't have to work that hard for last hitting. I gotta say, when you're against the Malzahar like that, the biggest thing that you gotta do is kill his little void minions the second that they come out. That's how you get the majority of your push on that champion. And that's it. You're going to easily miss CS and run out of mana if your minions aren't killing stuff right there.
Yeah, for sure. But that's one of those areas where Jedi Tristan going to have a little bit of trouble. Going to take a couple of autos from the Azir soldiers to actually finish off those Voidlings, as I understand. So that's going to count as AoE damage and can be a little bit reduced. So that's really what is effectually happening in this mid lane. Timmy just continuously getting that wave shoved on up here, and now he's free to move around. He's going to back up King Tehol in the top side jungle. He's going to throw down some extra wards here. And if Shadowjack tries to make any kind of play happen, if they catch somebody unawares in one of these side lanes, Timmy's going to be the first one there and is going to be able to make the difference.
Yeah, I agree. Meanwhile, Volibear keeping that lead, taking it across the map, is up CS, and it looked like he was going to be going for that Rift Herald, but instead he's going to be invading that blue buff. Oh, hate to see it. Shadowjack just getting pwned on right now. Hate to see it. Come on, man.
Yeah, King Tehol going to claim that buff for himself here, and now is going to look to aggress on to this Herald. We can see, once again, Timmy taking advantage of his tempo lead in the mid lane, shows on up, pushes into that river, knows that he's going to be available for the Rift Herald if Shadowjack tries to come back in and fight with anybody. He returns to mid lane to clear out the minions again, and then he's just going to be, once again, right on available for this contest up here. He's coming on up as they do see Shadowjack looking to potentially push on into there, but just don't feel powerful enough. There's this big old Mega Gnar there. He's not going to shrink back down into mini until the Rift Herald's already completed. That means it's going to be an objective going in the pocket of the Iron Chefs.
Yeah, definitely. We've already got a tower plating down there in the mid lane, so this could get that tower even lower from King Tohei if he just wants to drop that Rift Herald and immediately get some value there for himself right here. I think he should wait probably another 20 seconds and then look to transition onto that dragon right there. You know, split it up a little bit, make sure the enemy team has to respond to something. They can't immediately send 5 people there towards the dragon. But it looks like he's going to try to make something happen here in the bot lane beforehand. Has his ultimate to nullify that tower shot. Let's see how this one goes.
Yeah, gonna throw down the Rift Herald as well, just to try to get a little bit of cash inflow into the side of Spartan Monkey, but now he's gonna find Shadowjack. It's gonna be a flash coming through from the side of My Friend Told Me Not To, but not going to be able to get the engage there. My Friend Told Me To is the name, but Friend Told Me Not To in that case. Just can't get the twisting advance, just can't close that gap in time, and so Shadowjack gonna be able to pop the ghost and run on away, but they get the charge off of the Rift Herald, and they're gonna get the dragon now as well.
My friend told me not to use my ultimate right there if I'm the Maokai. But yeah, they've got 4 people here for this dragon. You can see how both teams kind of want it there, but Urgot's still sitting in that top lane, probably looking for the perfect...
Ace of the hole just completely kills My Friend Told Me To there. Nobody there to run interference, nobody there to block away on that skill shot, so the support going to end up falling down for the side of the Iron Chefs. But now Waffles has come on down for the engage. Bartha Brew is here as well, but is still stuck in that mini form, and that means the Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies actually going to be the ones who end up picking up this dragon. Bot lane push advantage doesn't end up mattering as Maokai falls down to a nice little shot from the side of Caitlyn. It's going to be another dragon for the series, first dragon of the game in the pocket of those Ducks.
Yeah, my friend told me not to keep a high health pool before this dragon spawns right there. Not what you're going to be looking for in that kind of a matchup right there. Meanwhile, Caitlyn is up 2 kills, relatively even on CS, but will probably be getting her Mythic right here. Has a little bit of gold. Yep, and it's going to be the Gale Force coming out there on that Caitlyn. Probably the best Mythic for her in this kind of a matchup. Maybe you could make the argument for the Kraken Slayer against the Volibear, against the Maokai, against the Gnar even, but I think the repositioning is just so impactful there on the Caitlyn. What do you think?
Yeah, it depends on your situation, but she's going to be looking to kite on out to targets like the Volibear and like the Gnar and like the Maokai are going to be advancing onto her throughout this game, so definitely want to be able to have the option to push on back and kite on out of there with the movement speed and the dash made available by that Gale Force here. But now, going to see this transformation in the top lane of Arthur Brew. Might have had an option to go on in aggressively onto Waffles there, but didn't have the opportunity. But now looking to keep those boomerangs coming on across, getting the hyper procs, potentially getting this Urgot incredibly low here. And even though it doesn't have the CS lead, is really winning out on the health totals in this bottom lane.
Yeah,
or in this top lane rather.
People don't realize that Gnar actually has very good flash coming out right there. Very good solo kill potential with his ultimate and with his mega form. If you can get someone down to like below 2/3 HP even and can hit your ultimate, combo them up, that's so much damage with the weaved auto attacks, with the E, with the W, with the ultimate slammed against the wall. And then you're stunned the entire time, so there's really not much you can do if you know your damage on Gnar. It's kind of disgusting if you can play it right.
Yeah, and first turret of the game actually was claimed by the side of the Iron Chefs in that bottom lane earlier. Just the explosive shot from Tristana just ends up making all the difference. They've had the push advantage the entire laning phase, and they're, with the help of that Rift Herald earlier on, going to be able to claim that first turret. It's going to be a big gold influx specifically for Spartan Monkey, but also for the rest of the team there, as Spartan Monkey pretty much dead even in gold with Festive Turtle there, even though Festive Turtle has 2 kills.
Yeah, kind of weird considering that. Like, getting all 4 of the tower plates early and all that. Ooh, hold up, fight here in the midnight.
Oh, there goes the engage. The Nethergrass comes on through. Jedi Tristan goes into the stasis, but is just going to find a big old bear waiting for him when he comes on out. The dive completes as King Tahoe advances forward, takes a couple of shots for his trouble, but is going to be able to escape here. Jedi Tristan ends up going down. First kill of the game, goes over to Timmy. He's just been keeping that wave shoved on in, and now he just takes the Nethergrasp opportunities once he gets them, and once he has King Tahoe in his pocket to dish out a little bit extra damage.
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier, how the Malzahar Azir matchup isn't that good for the Malzahar, but he does have much better setup there for his jungle. Probably not going to get a solo kill near the top lane. Did waste his flash earlier. I would say he definitely would have the kill pressure if he had that repositioning tool right there. But unfortunately, he doesn't right there, and it's going to be down in ultimate. Well, Volibear is showing up to the top lane, and they might be able to make something happen on the Urgot with the Gnar bar almost filled up.
Yeah, potentially, as here comes the engage, and now Gnar is already mega here, going to be landing that big old wallop, has the Gnar to throw him back up against the turret, no ultimate available for Urgot, and so Waffles gonna end up falling on down here to Bartho Brew. Another kill in the pocket of Iron Chefs here as they're coming on back in this game. They kept the gold even as they were falling behind in kills, and now they've equalized even that stat.
Yeah, absolutely, and looking at how this game is going, I hate to say it, but it does kind of look like a Diffie in the Jiffy over here, comparing King Tohei with Shadowjack here on this Heck Room. He's managed to get his own blue buff right there, just barely, but is going to be down 20 CS, was 30 CS earlier, and is going to be down so many major objectives right there. He was able to get that last Cloud Drake there for his team. Meanwhile, Volibear, he's winning the fights, mapping the pressure, getting that early Drake, getting the Rift Herald there for his team, and overall just being much more valuable than Hecarim, a champion who really loves to snowball and is not doing any of that right now.
Yeah, and both of these junglers seem to be still sticking to their Turbo Chem Tank builds. Still does make sense for the side of both of these guys, both going to be looking for that additional movement speed to get the types of engages that they do want here, but just going to be a little bit weaker than they were on previous patches. Lost about 20% of that movement speed, or 20% of the boost, so ends up being about a third of it in total. But now, as this dragon has spawned on up here, we might see our first big fight of the game. Timmy advancing forward, just trying to get those damage over time spells layered down onto Waffles here. An attempted Emperor's Divide from Jedi Tristan comes through, but doesn't land on anybody. And now here comes those vines coming through from Maokai, going to be sectioned off huge members of the team. And now Waffles left all alone, does get engaged on, does get taken down before the fight can even get started. Shadowjack tries to dash onto the back line, but he falls down as well. And now they're just layering everything down onto Zerothium. A double kill gets picked up by Spartan Monkey. 3 for 0 in favor of the Iron Chefs. They play that team fight beautifully, and they claim their second dragon of the game.
Sheesh, a beautiful team fight over here for the Iron Chefs. Just pick after pick after pick. They tried to engage over here on the Firebirds, but it was not happening with where they were at. And yeah, it looks like it's probably going to be more of the same, as we're going to see more team fights happening with more objectives spawning here 17 minutes into the game. It is going to be a Mountain Drake for our soul this game, and we are going to see a Baron spawning here in about another 2.5 minutes, and it looks like Iron Chefs just set very far and away to end this one before 25 minutes. Knowing that this is a gold level game, that should probably translate to 30 minutes, honestly, but this is going to be a quicker game than last game, is what I'm predicting.
Yeah, definitely can't blame you for that belief here. I just checked onto the bracket here. The winner of this series is going to end up playing against Team Collective Destiny in those quarterfinals here. And Iron Chefs making a strong case for why they should be the team to do it. They were able to claim Game 1. They've taken a very solid lead here in Game 2 and are just looking to continue to advance that lead and solidify this series in their favor. Just already at 18 minutes 30 seconds here, they're showing themselves to have a large amount of lead in the objective game, in the gold lead, in the kill game. And now they're going to be spawning this Rift Herald here. Going to get one charge off, but not likely pick up any turrets. Just still making their pressure felt all across the map.
Yeah, King Tohei not managing to do too much with that. Ooh, but
my friend told me to. He just gets chain CC'd by the Leona here. The Solar Flare does come on across. He flashes away from the Disdain. Nicely played there, but Shadowjack going to hunt him on down, but just get Nether grasped on the backside to finish off that kill. Now Zerothium going to have to frontline here, just getting so much damage layered into him from the side of Spartan Monkey. Flashes away, keeps the distance going. The engage now still getting chased on by King Taihole. He does have so much movement speed in his pocket. He lands the Thundering Blow, and that's going to be the kill on the Leona. The reset on the rocket jump comes on through from Spartan Monkey. Once he has that explosive shot back, he might be looking to keep the fight going, but they're just going to back on away here. All the damage comes on through from Timmy. Here comes the chops coming on through from the side of Spartan Monkey. He just forces the flash out of Festive Turtle just by rocket jumping forward there. Just too much damage available with that hail of blades, with that explosive shot, and forces the opposing AD carry off of the turret.
Festive Turtle also had to heal there just to stay alive, just because all the damage that was going to come out there from the explosive charge there from Tristana. And it's really right now where you can see where these leads are starting to accumulate. We're starting to win little fights. Now we're going to win bigger fights. Now the fights are happening more constantly. And Baron happening here in about another 10 seconds. I think we're going to see another fight coming up fairly quickly.
Yeah, very possible here is just going to be hanging out on the bot side for a little bit. Not really many objectives to fight around here for the side of the Iron Chefs, so expect them to just back on out of this jungle and let things go as they may. The turret is already down in the bottom lane and in the mid lane. The dragon is still dead for 2 more minutes. There's nothing really to pursue on this side of the maps. They should just look to clear on out their waves, clearing out their jungle camps, and migrate over towards that top side to start dealing with this Baron business.
Yeah, I think right now where you're seeing I don't want to say where you're seeing like the players' ranks come into play a little bit, but where you can see some of the players' experience right here. It's like you have the Baron. It's been on the map for the past or it's going to be on the map for a total of 2 minutes before the dragon spawns, and neither of these teams are really even just considering it. Like they're only wanting to take the small fights around here at the dragons, where it doesn't really matter if you mess up or lose it too much right there. Where I really think that the Iron Chefs could be looking for bigger fights to push bigger advantages here in this game, potentially close out games a little bit earlier for them. Just does not look like they're going for that right now. And I think if they want to start guaranteeing more victories for themselves in these later games, they should start looking for those more aggressive plays.
Yeah, potentially here, but they just want to keep their dragon stack going. That's what's on the forefront of their mind, and that's what they're trying to take and hold in this bottom lane. They want that vision. They want to clear out the opposing side's vision, and they want to make sure that they are going to be able to see where everybody's going and maybe go for a little bit of a chokehold engage as these side of the rubber duckies decide to try to come on in and contest this dragon, rather. It's not likely that they're going to let this one go down without a fight here, but they do have 3 members on the top side with just about 20 seconds to go until the dragon spawns, so maybe they're making me eat my words here.
Yeah, we do have a lot of teleports available, which is something we're going to have to consider right there, but getting an early start there on the dragon is something else that you're going to have to consider right here. We have no teleport available for the Leona, but Malzahar is... I don't know if he needed to teleport right there. In fact, that slows down the dragon and makes it so if they're being a little more proactive, it wouldn't be that safe for them to go for this right here. Unfortunately, Azir is the only person who can really do anything about this, so he probably won't be doing much right here. But yeah, just some weird plays across the map, honestly.
Yeah, but now look at the side of Spartan Monkey. He's coming around on the backside here, going to jump right onto Jedi Tristan. He isn't a 1 versus 2, but he just melts right through both of them. He doesn't care about the carries on the other team. He's got the rocket jump reset to come on into the Dragon Pit. Can pick up that one in style as well. A huge play comes through from the Tristana on the side of Iron Chefs. Just 1 versus 2 is the opposing carries.
I could run, but yeah, really, really great play over there by Spartan Monkey. He's working with 2 items here at 22 minutes. Absolutely fed here right now on Tristana. Oof, weird engages happening.
Yeah, Shadowjack just tries to ulti across everybody, isn't actually able to interrupt that Never Grasp, though. That just means that there's no chance. Zerothium falls on down during the duration of the suppression. Shadowjack gonna follow as well. Bartha Brew picks up the solo kill on the top side, and that was almost the ace if Festive Turtle hadn't respawned just a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, 4-13 right here in this game. If we didn't have a lead earlier, we certainly have a lead right now with the Iron Chefs. Looking absolutely beautiful right here. And, I was talking trash on the Malzahar earlier, and I still don't think it's the best pick, but he's playing it pretty well. He's waiting on his ultimate till a lot of the CC has come out so it doesn't get canceled, so he gets that full channel. So the team fights go a little bit more in his favor than he really should be getting naturally, but it was just not as good of a player at this game. Now we have the Baron on the map right here. They're on Soul Point with Mountain. They're nice and tanky. They should be looking for this Baron, or maybe a pick beforehand, but turning into a Baron is really what they're going to be looking for right now.
Yeah, very big lead in the pocket of the Iron Chefs so far this game, and they're going to find Zerothium off of a sapling. They're just going to flash Twisted Advance on top of them. They're going to layer all the CC that they need to. Here comes those vines to try to zero him out on the last attempt. So there's going to be a flash from Zerothium. Gonna manage to stay alive a little bit there. A lot of resources expended for not much profit on the side of the Iron Chefs, but they do have the prio over the Baron. They've successfully forced out the vision bot of the opposing team, and that means they can start up this Baron safely under the cover of darkness.
Yeah, with these champions, this is a very quick Baron. We got the Malzahar DPS, we got the Tristana DPS, and we got the Gnar pass going right there. Easy Baron coming out over here for the Iron Chefs. Another 3 minutes before another dragon spawns. That means plenty of time for the pushes here on the sides of Iron Chefs. We're taking that top lane, we're taking that bot lane, we're taking that mid lane. We have the teleport available on the Gnar, so we should see a lot happening here in terms of cross map plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Can just get the best mileage out of that Baron buff that they can here, as they're just dominating completely across the map. They got almost a 10k gold lead here at 25 minutes. That's just crazy, as Iron Chefs really can virtually do no wrong here. It should be able to win most fights that they take at this point, as they just have full item advantages across several of the lanes here. You can look at the mid lane, a full extra item in the pocket of Timmy. In the jungle, a full extra item under the side of Volibear. Whole extra item in the pocket of Bartho Brew here. It's just, it's very difficult for the side of the Duckies to really even be able to contest this. As now King Tell, he's going in for another engage. He gets the Thundering Blow. Doesn't have too much backup though. Timmy advancing forward, looking to maybe get the snare out of the Nether Grasp, but they are just going to back out away.
Yeah, going for random fights in the jungle is something that you can do, but not really what you should be doing with this kind of a lead right here. We should really be looking to push the fights, force the enemy team to come to you here.
Yeah, they got stroke to them though. That's, they're just good. They know that the flash is down from their previous engage attempt, and they just layer everything on top of them. They knock them back in with that smash from the Maokai, and that's going to be it, as King Tell just going in for this dive. Spartan Monkey is godlike as he picks up another kill onto the side of Tristana. Bartho Brew solo killed the top laner. Once again, Waffles just not being able to make it happen on this Urgot. A really long Nether Grasp comes through from Timmy there to pick up onto Shadowjack. Is there's 4 members dead from the fire-breathing rubber duckies just like that. It looks like Iron Chefs, they might look to close out this game.
Ooh, yeah, 26.5 minutes right there. Patting the KDA a little bit, trying to get those last few kills. But yeah, beautiful game over here from Iron Chefs coming in over here with that W in game 2.
Yeah, really showing why they earned their higher seed coming on into this matchup here, and they are going to move on to face Team Collective Destiny here in our quarterfinals. Congratulations to the side of the Iron Chefs as they advance farther in this playoffs bracket. And meanwhile, we're going to have to say goodbye to the fire-breathing rubber duckies here for the winter split of Risen Rampage Premade League, as they are going to drop out here in the round of 16.
Yeah, I hate to see him go. Probably one of the best names here in all of Risen, honestly. Fire-breathing rubber duckies. Up there with, the classics such as Taco Cat. I think Doritos, there was a team named after the Doritos Locos Tacos a while ago. That was pretty cool. But yeah, over here, beautiful game 2 over here from the Iron Chefs, and even more beautiful game 1. Now, I'm looking for MVPs at this point, and I gotta say, I really loved watching King Tohei. King Tohei? Is that his name?
I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I'm certainly on board for giving him that award if we're dishing it out here. No deaths in the whole series here following this game. Didn't die once on that Morgana, didn't die once on this Volibear, and was really just able to get his team super far ahead. Had some favorable matchups in both of these games and really made the most out of them. Was able to get all the CS he needed, substantial CS leads in both of these games, was able to come through the ganks where his team needed him, was able to come up in the team fights. Just excellent jungle play all around from King Tehil.
Yeah, absolutely. He got his team the lead. He used the lead effectively to get objectives, and that's basically all you're looking for in a competitive jungler. Spartan Monkey played beautifully on that Twitch game too. Went deathless on the Tristana Twitch game 1. Went deathless on the Tristana game 2. Barthola Brew went absolutely beautifully in the top lane right there. Tim A, completely game defining on the Corki there in game 1. Not a fan of the Malzahar pick, but played it very well there in the game. So I think all these players have something to be proud of after this one. It is going to be the 2-0 victory in the best of 3 over here for the Iron Chefs. Do we do interviews at all?
Don't believe for the side of Rampage, so we are just going to finish it on off here with the congratulations over to the side of the Iron Chefs. They had a great series here tonight, really demonstrated that they were the better team on the night, taking a clean sweep of a 2-0 in this series. And as we said, moving on to that quarterfinal here. Meanwhile, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning on in here for Risen Premade Rampage round of 16. We're going to be back next week here for those quarterfinals I was just talking about. But until then, stay tuned to the Twitter for updates on when we will be going live, and have yourself an excellent night.
All right, see you then.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose